For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Poland's exports are equal to almost half its national GDP, and only a few countries can match this number. Poland ended 2020 with one of its highest trade surpluses ever, equal to 12 billion euro. Polish foreign trade during the difficult pandemic year was almost equal to the previous record-setting year of 2019.
This surplus was created by the grocery sector, but now statistics show other sectors taking part. It will be a significant factor in Poland's recovery from the recession. Exports get us out of the coronavirus hole, and we can see this through industrial production. 67 to 68% of exports are connected with industrial products. In the last months of 2020, we saw high production levels, even higher than in 2019 before the coronavirus hit.
Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, and Slovakia are celebrating the 30th anniversary of the Visegrad Group. Late President Václav Havel, who initially proposed this formation, wanted to commemorate the Visegrad Congress, a meeting of the Bohemian, Hungarian, and Polish kings in 1335. 686 years later, the prime ministers of the respective countries met in the royal castle in Krakow, where they signed the Anniversary Declaration and the Digital Declaration. They also welcomed a special guest, head of the European Council, Charles Michel.
The Visegrad Group is a story about uniting with Europe, about strength and new ambition. We came back to Europe, to our rightful place, and from which we were wrongly deprived after the Second World War. A great step occurred when we joined NATO and the EU. Our Middle European fate did not condemn us to weakness and loss. We rather started a new, successful chapter in our history. Today we celebrate 30 years of the Visegrad Group, but we also celebrate several hundred years of cooperation. Central European rulers took the initial moves in this direction, actions which serve as an historical precedent to our cooperation. 30 years ago, everyone in Hungary believed that our future depended on entering the Visegrad Group.
A court for Warsaw's Praga district gave a 25-year prison sentence to a teenage student who fatally stabbed a 16-year-old friend from school. The murder took place a year and a half ago. The perpetrator had planned the attack and so was tried as an adult. The Ministry of Health reported nearly 8,700 new cases of coronavirus and also announced the deaths of 279 people who had COVID-19.
Almost 55,000 tests were performed. The largest number of coronavirus cases, 1,400, was in the Mazowiecki province, trailed by Śląskie, Warmińsko-Mazurskie, Wielkopolskie, and Pomorskie. Due to COVID-19, 12,225 people are in hospitals and 1,286 patients are on ventilators. Over 2,230,000 vaccinations have been administered in Poland, over 1.5 million first doses and nearly 700,000 second doses. The latest daily number of vaccinations is nearly 70,000.
More on the lawsuit that 80-year-old Filomena Leszczyńska, a villager from northeastern Poland, brought against famous professors who, in their book Night Without End, The Fate of Jews in Selected Counties of Occupied Poland, accused her uncle of murdering Jews. Ms. Leszczyńska felt this was counterfactual, so she sued. The verdict ordered the professors to apologize, but they intend to file an appeal. Meanwhile, prosecutors spoke about the case.
Ms. Leszczyńska sued for defamation of her deceased uncle, Edward Malinowski, who was described as a thief responsible for murdering Jews and as a soulless person who first robbed people and then tried to make deals with them. The accusations about his being soulless are absurd. The writer had confused two people with the same name. Ms. Drugicka was not dealing with this Edward Malinowski. She did not visit him in 1944. This is a civil trial for defamation of an elderly, sick and blind woman from the rural Podlasie region.
Ash Wednesday is celebrated by all Christians, an event which marks the beginning of Lent. In Poland, the tradition involves sprinkling ashes on one's head. This year, due to the coronavirus pandemic, the ritual has changed.
Lent is a Christian time of penance and deep internal reflection. While there is no obligation to attend Ash Wednesday services, the Catholic Church recommends it. During the Mass, priests sprinkle ashes on the heads of the faithful, a rite practiced since the 7th century.
Siamo polvere.
The ashes on our heads remind us that we are made of dust and that we will return to dust. However, God breathed the Spirit of life into this dust, so we should not chase what is temporary in our lives. Let us return to the Spirit of the Creator, to the fire that resurrects our ashes.
Andando dietro a cose che
In connection with the coronavirus pandemic, the Church recommends that, after blessing the ash and sprinkling it with holy water, priests say the Latin missive, "Repent and believe in the gospel," or "Remember that you are made of dust, and to dust you shall return." We can fast, pray, and suffer because we see ongoing wars. We hear about abortions. We hear about lost young people who do not see the meaning of life and commit suicide, about the breakdown of marriages. Everything concerns us, but the Church also has to repent for its sins and the sins of others. Because the Church lives in the midst of the world, it has a mission to mourn these sins. According to Church canon law, on Ash Wednesday the faithful must fast, meaning that they should limit themselves to 1 full and 2 light meals, all the while abstaining from meat. Quantitative fasting does not apply to people under 18 or over 60. Abstaining from meat applies to everyone over 14.
For Poland Daily News, I'm Phil Goss. Good night.